everyone, welcome to Pouring Takes. I'm Charlie Van.
And I am Rayya here at beautiful Bryan Street Tavern again with the volleyball view, my favorite. Love being outside. Be sure to subscribe to all of our channels at pouringtakes.com. You can catch all of our episodes there, links to all of our socials. But today is a really, really fun day, isn't it, Charlie?
I'm super excited. We are here joined by Steven Ocho Peterson, former UFC Featherweight fighter. He's a coach and now MMA promoter, martial arts promoter. Steven, thank you for joining us here.
I know. I feel like this is such a long time coming. You've been such a vital part of my fighter journey. And now here we are in the next phases of our lives.
Yeah, it's full circle. So I appreciate you guys, what you do. I know Charlie, I've known him for quite some time doing the different podcasts that you've worked on, very informative. And you're like, you keep all the records in your head. You got all
I keep the receipts.
He's Rain Man.
So yeah, it's always fun to talk to you. You're very knowledgeable on sport and beer.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate it. Well, what are we drinking here?
Dallas Blonde.
Same here. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. I went with the Crown and Coke.
She is a whiskey girl.
$5 Crown and Downs on Mondays at Bryan Street Tavern. Couldn't help myself.
Yeah, Crown gets me down, so I don't drink much dark liquor.
Well, I like my meat a little cooked. What can I say? Anyway, let's get into it. Why is Ocho here with us?
Well, Ocho, we're super excited because this coming Saturday in Cleburne, Texas, Triple FL Tru Grit, your promotion is going down, and we're excited to be a part of it here with Pouring Takes, so we definitely appreciate you including us. First just diving into your background as a promoter. You've mentioned we've known each other for a long time, and I actually followed when you were on the amateur scene, and just to see your growth as a fighter, as a coach, and now a promoter. When you're looking at your journey that you've been on, was promotion always something in the back of your mind?
Absolutely. I like to do each thing that's involved with everything I do, really. I like to be knowledgeable and experienced. Promotion was something when I was a fighter, I was like, man, this show, I could do it better. But you got to know the ins and outs and whatnot. Just taking notes throughout my career, I've seen how the lower level promotions do it, how the higher promotions do it, and then how the UFC, the top promotion, does it. And just taking little notes and seeing how they do it, it's a blueprint. And it's not it's easier said than done, but I think it just takes passion. So I did the fighting side, I do the coaching side. Promotion is just a natural progression.
What makes your promotion different than the local ones around here?
My promotion is different because, one, it's owned by a fighter that really invested in teaching the fighters how to promote themselves. Because you get paid to fight, but not really. You're getting paid to entertain people, and you need to really stand out from the other fighters. And if all the fighters really promoted themselves, they're going to make more money, the promotion is going to make more money, and everybody's just going to grow together. Whereas, a lot of these promotions, they just use the fighters. They don't really promote them. They don't want them to stand out. They want to take the highlights and make all the money, pay the fighters scraps. So, I want the fighters to have a take of what they bring in. And, the more money they make, the more money I make, and the better it is for everybody.
Sounds like you're taking a page out of WWE, like creating personas, not just athletes, and I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, and I'm also able to share their stories, get the fans to identify with the fighters, and when you can relate to a competitor, then you actually are invested in what happens when they fight. Like win, lose, or draw, if you know their story, you still care about that person. And when the fans are invested that way, it makes the fight so much more epic because everybody's involved, everybody's in tune with what's going on, and that energy, it's palpable. You can feel it in the air, and it makes the fighters give a lot more heart.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like being at Fortis MMA, getting to know you, your story, and then the rest of your teammates' stories. Then watching y'all fight, whether it was on TV or live, was like 9 out of 10 times the most nerve-wracking feeling and anxiety ever. So I love that you're building that into your promotion.
You've also been, through your career too, on the media side as well. I mean, you've hosted your own shows, you've done plethora of interviews. What is for these guys and girls starting out, what's your biggest advice on that? Because media is also, and obviously creating that persona is being comfortable in front of a camera, no matter the size of the outlet. So is there any specific advice that helped you in the beginning that you give them?
Yeah, at the beginning, you got to do everything you can with media to get that experience and get your name out there. Once you get some momentum going, then kind of be picky about who you're doing interviews with. So there's two sides to that. If you're early to the sport and you don't really have a name, yeah, do the podcast that the kid from whatever country is just starting his first podcast and he knows who you are. Like, do those podcasts. But once time it starts getting booked up and your name is already well known, then be picky of who you do a podcast with, because a lot of guys, they have a podcast and they might not do the research and they hop on and they just ask super organic questions, and then you're sitting there feeling awkward, and it's like, okay, now I have a real shitty interview, and that can then be used against me. So choose your words wisely when you're on the camera, but prepare yourself for those moments so that the words come out correctly.
Well, and also, I feel too, especially, and this kind of ties into that, we have so much of that gotcha, right? And sometimes it's out of emotion, nerves. Was there a moment in your career where, whether it was the beginning, maybe even in UFC, where you, because of your experience, you took notice of that, and you're like, all right, I kind of have to switch this a little bit just to kind of save, this interview?
Yeah. The promoters ask super organic questions like, how did that make you feel, when they know it's going to make you feel, I'm fucking pissed. You know what I mean? And then
how did losing feel?
Clip,
Yeah.
They take that clip, and whether you make no sense and sound like an idiot, they're going to take that clip and it's clickbait. Or if you say something like about your opponent, like, make sure, don't necessarily script, but have key points that you want to say and rehearse those. If you want to make a tag, follow me at Ocho08. You can follow the F3L at F3 League, like stuff like that. You got it written down, and it's like, okay, you say it a few times while you're driving, while you're leading up to the interview, and have notes for your sponsors, all that stuff. You got to somewhat script these things, otherwise you're gonna go out there and fumble your words when you're on camera, and then it just doesn't look too good for you as a entertainer.
Yeah, especially now with social media and TikTok, everything's a clip. So
yeah, exactly.
It can work for you, it can work against you. Well, going into this weekend's competition, it is, focuses on martial arts, also focuses on music as well. Talk about the importance of having both those elements, and how have martial arts and music shaped your life, because I've seen you've been on both sides. And you've always had an interesting walkout. You've had a variety, so.
Not just an interesting walkout, he just dropped a song.
I know, so talk about that, how both have impacted.
There's so much to talk about. It's too bad we don't have all day.
But,
yeah. So when I walk out, it's just me and I get my music, right? I always wanted to have the rappers walking me out. Eminem, I want to walk out to one of his songs, Patiently Waiting, all that stuff. How epic would that be? But in a lot of these leagues, most of these leagues, you don't get that. Even the UFC, you only get that if you're Israel Adesanya. I don't think I've seen one where you get a rehearsed, scripted walkout, besides the one where he did the little ninja shit with the hats and all that. But I've been really interested in that, and in the music industry, these artists all have really significant stories. There's a reason why they're so renowned for their art, right? The words they say help people relate. Mm-hmm. So if a song goes viral, it's either super fucking stupid or it's really deep. And the deep songs make people relate on a deeper level to where they feel like, oh, this guy's singing about me. And I feel like that with a lot of the artists I work with. It's like they start rapping or they start singing. It's like, man, how'd you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can really relate with these people. And so that's gotten me really involved in the music industry with my production, Ocho TV, OchoTV.net. We're building documentaries or episodes, docu-series for different artists from different walks of life, and how they all can potentially have the same story in a nutshell, because we all go through trials and tribulation, but these guys, specific guys that I'm working with, made the best out of what they got, and now they're stars for it. So kind of just sharing that, and obviously you need music if you're doing episodes and TV, so they go hand in hand, and then you add that to the events. What other promotion has musicians perform live for the intermission?
I know, that's awesome.
It's like everybody go take a piss, go drink, and then everybody's just standing around. What's going on? There's no entertainment going on. So there should always be entertainment going on, whether they want to pay attention and engage or not. There should always be something going on the screen or on the stage.
No, I love how cross-functional that is with like layering. All right, so this performer is going to perform here, but we're also going to sell his t-shirts. We're going to sell his songs. All my fighters are going to walk out to that song. We're going to do TV episodes with the song featured. Like, I think that is just so cool, and I'm kind of surprised that the UFC doesn't do that. I think WWE does that. WWE does a lot of like cross-selling with their music. Like all of the different wrestlers have theme songs that play, and it's their song. And at WrestleMania, I saw it was my first time watching WrestleMania. That's why it's fresh in my head. I saw all of the like big stars had their bands with them playing their walkout song live as they came in. And I'm like, it's such a missed opportunity in our world in MMA. Like it's so cool.
And you know why I think that is? It's because when a fighter stands out, then they become too big, and they're getting too much of the pot. So you keep the fighters down. The fighters are a dime a dozen. Every once in a while you get a Conor McGregor, but then they get too big for their britches, and now they're demanding so much money to fight. It's like, well, was it worth all the inconvenience? Is he really making that much when you're splitting it half and half with them? I prefer to build stars that way, and then if all the fighters are a star, like the WWE,
then you're making all the money.
We're all making more money.
Yeah, everybody's winning.
Yeah, rising tide floats all ships.
Charlie, if you were to fight or wrestle, what would be your walkout song?
Sabotage has always been my go-to Beastie Boys. When I was doing Golden Gloves, it's what I trained to all the time. That and Rock Box by Run DMC, because I was Roy Jones, and I was a big fan of Roy Jones Jr., so that was his walkout. So it was usually a cross between those two. So
nice.
Yeah, mine would be If Licks Could Kill by Heart.
Keeping it classic.
Thank
though.
you!
I do like hearing the classics though. Like, I mean, as much modern day, which is nothing wrong with, but I feel like I've always seen fighting as a way that pays tribute to some of those classic artists too. Keeps them going, definitely reintroduces to the crowd.
To the young guys.
Yeah.
I think it's very marketable to have a theme song, walk out to it every time. Like the crowd knows what you're gonna walk out to. But I always, I've never walked out to the same song twice.
That's true.
When I walk out, I want to feel how the energy that is going on in my life in that moment. So about a week or two out from the fight, I choose my song based off how my life is going. And it's always something that's going to get me in the state of mind. But I want to be right here, right now, and the song kind of draws me into that moment, whereas if I had a theme song, it's like, okay, it's just another dance. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you mean.
Were you ever... Oh, sorry, go right.
No, I would say definitely know what you mean. Go.
Hey, we were talking about this on last week's episode about superstitions, and there was always a superstition for a while. I don't know if you remember this, like Thunderstruck by AC/DC. Anyone who walked out to it, unfortunately, took a L that night. Were you ever into superstitions at all, or just like, it's not real?
What you believe ends up manifesting. So if you really believe in the superstitions, then it's likely that that's going to continue its role. But the Drake curse was broken this weekend. So enough people didn't believe. Enough people believed that Pierre was going to win. Yeah. And he got the knockout. Whereas, if people believe so much in that superstition, and said there's no way that that's going to go away. If you don't know about the Drake superstition,
poor Drake. He's just trying. He's trying to support.
Argument. Drake is so polarizing as a rapper that people either love him or hate him. So anything.
Not a rapper.
Okay, fine. I'm not a Drake
As an
fangirl.
artist,
As you can
he's,
tell, I'm not.
pretty large.
But I'm saying people really feel the love for Drake or they fucking hate the guy. And so anything that he does is magnified times 100. So that's where
if
the
he
Drake
bets
curse
on
came
you,
from.
then you're likely to lose, right?
But
That's
look at
the
the
trend.
numbers statistically.
Yeah.
Like, he actually bets on a lot of favorites because he's such a chicken shit. The first couple times,
It's a
yeah,
lot
he
of
took the
money he's betting,
underdog. Yeah, first couple times definitely took the underdog loss, and then he started betting towards the favorite. Like, I could trend this out for you guys, I really could, but I'm not a Drake fangirl, so I won't.
Well, you're talking about different songs walk out. I was listening when Erin Blanchfield recently fought, and she's kept the same song since her early days. Remember the Name by Fort Minor, great song. So there are those that also in that way, they're like, I don't want to change. Anderson Silva always walked out to Ain't No Sunshine, Run DMC, DMX, and then Chuck Liddell for the longest also is DMX, but one time against Rich Franklin, he came out to Eminem's song. So
How do you remember these things?
I know I don't remember a lot of things. That's the one thing. When you're glued to it, but I think those are fun, interesting things. But like you said, if it's
What song did
manifest-
I walk out to when I fought Manny Vasquez?
And LFC.
Was that an Allen? Or was that
here
Bomb
at the
Factory?
Bomb Factory.
See, I remember you came out to Eminem in your UFC debut because we were also texting about this. So.
I always felt like you always walked out to Eminem.
No,
But you
not
did.
every time.
And Matt Brissett, you came out to, didn't you come out to Disturb during that? Yeah. See, the Manny, I wasn't at
My
Manny's
life,
fight.
man.
I wasn't at the.
That's probably why.
Yeah. Otherwise.
I was actually at that fight, and I don't remember. But we know why I don't remember.
It's a drinking show. It happens.
It's always a good time, and then when you're the main event, everybody's always pretty blitzed by the time you get in there. You get done, it's like, man, I gotta catch up.
Well,
You did.
that was
You did a
always
great job.
interesting though, because I remember with LFA, because you couldn't come out to because of the televised to Maine. So was that ever polar? Like, did that even matter? Because I'm sure it's so cool getting to walk out.
I'd get to walk out, but it was always a censored version of
Yeah.
the song, which kind of like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Give me my shine.
Or you can have a Mike Perry session where he came out. He's supposed to come out to the Halo theme song, and they played Halo by Rihanna. And he's like, "Is this Halo?" All
They did
right.
that to Macy too. Like, she picked a remixed Beethoven song, and they played the actual Beethoven. And she walked out to Beethoven. I was like, what is happening here?
It happens. In my pro debut, I walked out to, I chose a song. I think it was like Never Enough or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they played I Could Use Somebody.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Kings of
Someone
Leon.
like you. And I was like walking out, I was like, I wanted to turn around and be like, no, but then it would be like, the song would be like, with the act of me turning around, I could use somebody. It was like, no, I'm not gonna play into that. Some people do that to try to get in your head.
Yeah.
And I saw it happen to my main event in my rivalry too. I don't know if it was intentional, but the kids stood in the tunnel and they were like, what the heck? Like, they were playing some foo-foo song and he didn't want to walk out. And eventually he was like, all right, screw it. And he just walked out.
own it.
Like, so they were laughing about it. The poor kid ended up losing, so it might have fucked with his head. But it happens. So you just gotta shake it off and
Okay,
take it like okay, you're trying to get in my head. Well, now I'm gonna make you pay for that.
Or you own it like Tai Tuivasa, who always has like some ballad like "My Heart Will Go On" and stuff like
dance
just
to
own
it,
it.
you know?
And half the time he's winning, so it's like you own it. I mean,
I
it's
think
just
if you own a mistake, then you can turn an L into a W real quick.
Plus, how serious in his own fight is. So like everyone has their way of dealing, with those nerves. With these amateurs this weekend, the best advice for them, if some of them this is their first chance to be in front of a crowd, getting to compete. I mean, how did you always like mask those nerves? And if there is any advice that you can give, I mean, everybody's different, right? But
I would deny them.
Yeah.
They'd say, "Are you nervous?" I'd be like, "No." Like, this guy is gonna fight me and try to beat me up, but there's a ref there to save me.
Yeah.
I've been jumped, like in the country where you don't know if you're gonna live or die. I've been jumped by a bunch of Mexicans, and it's like you don't know if you're gonna get stabbed. I'm fighting for my life. When I fight in the cage, I am fighting for my life in the mindset, but there's a ref that's gonna save you before you die. So I was never like scared for my safety. It was more, I was anxious. and nervous to lose. Didn't want to lose, but I was never scared in there. It was like, man, I'm getting to do this, and the crowd's watching. Like, it's a dream come true.
I will say, as like a spectator and someone who's watched a lot of your fights, I always felt like you were your best self in the cage. Like, you just were in that vibe always.
I believe
and
that.
you put on a show, and it didn't matter how bad you got hit. Didn't matter. You never dropped, ever.
Yeah, I just don't give a fuck in there, you know.
No, that was your thing.
I'm in my element.
That is, I didn't understand why you went by Man of Steel until I saw you fight.
Yeah, the Man of Steel was manufactured. You know, the Ocho was made by the people, and the Man of Steel was made by hardened. He was hardened Ocho, where nothing could break me. You know, Ocho was beaten up so many times, and I think it was my personal life and the downfalls and tribulations I went through with my marriage and outside of fighting, where the Man of Steel was really made, because it was like, man, you can bust my skin, you can break my skin, but you can't break my spirit.
Which is, you know, the great recipe, right?
Do we want another round? Our buddy Zach is here.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
another one.
I will do one more.
I've been savoring it, so I can wait for the next one.
Do you want a shot of Fireball?
I'll take a shot of Casamigos. Blanco.
Oh yeah, that's right. No dark liquors.
No dark liquor for me.
No, we're good.
We're good right now. Thank you.
You don't want me getting in a fight in the parking lot. I learned that when I was young. No dark liquor and no vodka. Vodka turned me bright red.
It's like allergic kind of.
Something, but Dank vodka doesn't do that to me.
Really?
Shout out Dank. I think very pure, like vodka is a triple filter.
The organic.
Yeah, something like that. But like,
Something.
you know, something like Tito's is supposed to be pretty good, but nah, bro. Nah.
Just your body.
Even shitty liquor. I'm bougie.
Well, you've earned every
shitty
right to be
tequila.
this point.
If I drink Patron, it's supposed to be pretty good, but Patron will make me red-faced.
So what's your go-to drink, like, if you're just chilling?
Tequila Sheila.
All right.
What does that mean?
Tequila Sheila. It is a tequila brand, and she's a great sponsor of mine.
Okay.
And she is doing very well for herself in these days. Distribution needs to keep up, but you know, Tequila Sheila, shout out. You can get it at all your regular liquor stores, Specs, Total Wine, and she's a great person here local, so support local, Dallas Blonde.
Yeah.
Do you love our
And
local
then
brands?
if they don't have her behind the bar, then we need to talk to the owners, get her behind the bar. And Casamigos is a great second place.
So is that one, like, you love to just have on the rocks? Or you like to mix a little bit? Like,
I like it with pineapple.
okay, awesome.
I hear
mean-
that's a very common combination, tequila pineapple.
The ladies love it.
Yeah.
Ladies, guys love it. I've seen more dudes drink tequila pineapple than women.
Some things just go over like people's heads.
Oh, I got it.
I do like some good tequila though. Like, and especially
Well,
you
it makes
can
me
just
like a
have it.
happy.
Yeah.
I don't get too like I don't know if it's my liver's really good or my brain is just like I'll get loose, but I don't ever get too fucking wasted. Like,
Yeah.
I try to maintain my machine.
Yeah.
My machine. I'm behind the wheel of me, and if I act ass, then that's gonna ruin a lot of things I'm working on. So I always maintain my character. I try to
We all tried to.
center myself and not act out of character after a few drinks. I'll get a little looser, I'll be a lot nicer with the ladies, but I'm still, my morals stay intact.
No, that's always good when you can, like, hone that in and just have fun. And,
Yeah, if I gotta walk a straight line, try me out. You know? Stand on one leg. How about you try to stand on one leg?
Well, do you like to dance? You ever? No.
I can say
I hate-
I've
No Dancing
never
with the
seen
Stars.
him
I
dance.
hate dancing, but if you get me drunk enough, I will dance and make an ass out of myself. But I try not to get that drunk. It will take a lady, so there's layers to this. I get a little loose, and then a lady comes along and then gets me even drunker, and then I'll get past that point where I'm like, all right, I'm not driving nowhere. There's nobody around. Like, there's nobody around that would use this against me. You know. I don't know.
Yeah, you
I try
gotta
not
have,
to
like-
care about what people think.
Yeah.
But when it comes to dancing, you gotta let go of all inhibitions.
This is the dancing king right
I know
here.
that dude. Man, if you ever seen Charlie dance, like this dude breaks it down. I could take some lessons.
Charlie's been my longtime dance partner.
It's cardio. It's extra cardio.
Charlie and I, with salsa and swing dance, we used to do all the things.
Well, so like, a lot of people don't realize like Bruce Lee, like, you know, would competitively do cha-cha and like, well, even we know, Sebastian Yancey Darius, he loves to dance and stuff. So it's just that extra rhythm and footwork, and the footwork too helping.
It does come into play in fighting. But when I'm doing my fighting footwork, like when I'm dancing, it's like, okay, I just like move like I'm fighting, but then like more like loose, and then I find myself. But I think dancing and fighting have a very similar rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, and both the focus into the discipline, both communities, like dancing and martial arts, is so positive. And anytime doing either or, I just feel just pumped and exciting. Now, if you take a leg kick, though, and then you go, but it's just both fun. And, you used to see people walk out and fight, and they would dance a little bit, too. I mean, obviously, like you said, Izzy's really good. Anderson was good, too. I mean, there's been a lot of guys and girls. Valentina is like...
Valentina can dance, yeah.
I love to salsa with her just because I know she's like pretty high level, I think, or like experienced. So I just love that the worlds combine. So.
Will there be dancing at Tru Grit?
There will be dancing at Tru Grit.
All right.
It's a honky tonk, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, there you go.
We got all kinds. It's a cowboy theme. So, it's 420, but it's kid friendly until the sun goes down. When the sun goes down, all bets are off.
7-ish?
7:30, about 7:30. We'll have an announcement that...
Please take your children home.
Get the kids out of here.
Yeah.
And then there's 8 o'clock. It's probably time to cut it off. Cut off the kids, because we have some exciting things planned for Tru Grit 420.
Is there anything you can tell us outside of the food trucks, the actual fights, the musical performances?
It will be the first ever backward boxing match televised live on TV.
So what does that go into detail? Because that's new to me.
This will be the first time I've explained the rules on any sort of camera.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, that's exciting. Breaking news.
It was born over COVID. So I was... No, you're good, man. This is
Thank you, Zach, as always.
Always taking care of us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to explain the rules.
Here's your drink.
Thank you.
Appreciate
So
it, man.
let's have a shot to
let's do the
backwards
shots.
boxing and Tru
Yes.
Grit.
Yeah,
New.
to Tru Grit, to new things.
Yes. That is like, we always say, like big red on fire.
So, backwards boxing. Over
I
COVID,
overestimated that one.
it was like, you go to sleep, and you what am I going to do tomorrow? Oh yeah, nothing, right? Like, everything's locked down. So I decided to say, fuck that. I left the house, went and hung out with my friends from back in high school. Just think about it, I've been fighting for, at that point, like 11 years, 12 years professionally. So I wasn't able to enjoy a lot of the things that, holidays, weekends the same, everybody that would go out after work on any given day. I'm at the gym. No, I had to say no to a lot of birthdays, a lot of parties, a lot of holidays. Just that enjoyment and the camaraderie with friends I didn't have. So over COVID, it was like, okay, I don't have to do anything. I'm going to go hang out with my hood rat friends. And so I kind of went on a bender, and we were hanging out. It was probably like 1 in the morning, and I was like, all right, screw it. Ladies and gentlemen, introduced for the first time ever in the history of mankind, backwards boxing. I got my buddies, they were down, and basically you go back to back, and you have to make eye contact with the camera held by the judge. So there's the judge's eye contact, and the camera is catching your eyes, right? And the rule is, if you break eye contact, you lose. So now we've got into, we're doing 3 rounds, but you have to look your judge in the eyes. You're back to back with your opponent. You got to swing.
Oh my God.
That's better than power slap, I
It's
think. Right?
fucking entertaining. It's hilarious. It's entertaining. Nobody's gotten hurt. Barely even like get. Like,
Yeah.
It's unlikely you're gonna get hit significantly. You're going like this, you know, and then you look back and then you lose. So
Unless
you
you
can't
have, like,
look
a
at the target.
Pterodactyl
Are
reach
your
over there,
backwards boxing athletes trained in backwards boxing? Or are they doing this on the fly?
It is. Nobody knows the rules yet.
So people just signed up.
They're down.
Yeah.
Okay, I love this even more.
So they're down and they don't even know the rules. So we're gonna have at least one backwards boxing match on the card. It'll be somewhere later towards the main event, and nobody knows anything about it. So it's gonna be extremely hilarious. People are gonna be like, it's gonna be a WTF moment. And then when they see it go down, they're gonna be like, wow. And I'm very interested.
TikTok or Vine?
This might
I'm
be
very
a birth of-
interested to see people's reactions to the sport.
I am too.
And you know, like I just got the email today. Texas is proposing to sanction slap
Oh,
in
power
Texas
slam. All right.
because right now we can do a slap match at our Tru Grit event, but once they sanction that, those will no longer be allowed in underground scene.
Yeah.
It'll go underground.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're seeing the UFC money, and the
Yeah.
UFC wants to add it to their events, like maybe as a pre-show or something in that capacity. So UFC is sanctioning slap. They're trying to get Texas. There's a lot of money behind it. Backward boxing, it's not sanctioned. Like nobody's ever heard of it. So we got the jump on that, and you know maybe one day you'll see backward boxing in an intermission at the UFC. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll be pretty fun, and I'm excited for that.
That's really cool. Look at you starting trends.
You like that?
I do
like
actually.
I mean, hey, like I think. Well, you were mentioning like
It's
you know.
stupid, it's
No,
funny, and it's entertaining.
But this is what the world wants. This is what the world
we
needs.
could do
thrive
mud
on
wrestling.
these things.
People would love that, and we might have a couple surprises in that, right? But
Don't look at me and say mud wrestling, okay?
We have endorsed that we are going to be promoting the first ever backward boxing match on live TV.
Well, and we're such in a awesome time of invention, right? Just like how like you were just mentioning COVID, like all of our wheels were turning. And thank you obviously to like big platforms, even like TikTok. It made us like push out of the box.
First ever time I got on TikTok and made a stupid video.
I love the mom spaghetti.
Mom spaghetti, yeah.
I went viral by accident.
On that right, I bleached my hair.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Overnight.
How long did it take you to get that out? Because you didn't have it too long.
I headed for COVID.
Yeah.
Until
There you go.
COVID was over. I went to Mexico and then I came back normal.
Yeah.
I went to Tulum. Actually, I came back and bought a lemur.
You did. That is right.
So I
Squeaks.
don't think I ever recovered from that.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? But you've been on the you've been creating so much though.
I quantum leaped to a whole nother reality, and I didn't foresee myself retiring from MMA, but there's no way that I would be able to promote, run my production company, Ocho TV, and do everything else that I'm doing if I was still fighting, because fighting takes everything in your soul if you're going to be doing it on that level.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
I hear that.
yeah, it was not something where I was going to risk everything I'd worked for. It was time to just put that on the shelf and focus on what's in front of me right now and create this this platform, and then who knows what the future holds.
Well, it seems like the competition bug though is still in your soul, and this coming weekend we're getting to see you against Major Dodge, a guy we've known for quite some time, and I've known Major through the film scene here. By the way, Bomb City, still always great movie.
Bomb City is an amazing movie if you like competition, jocks, emos, or goth.
True story, too.
It's a true story,
Yeah.
and it's very true to a lot of different cities. A lot of people can relate to that story. It's very thought-provoking.
See, when y'all said Bomb City, I went somewhere else.
Yeah,
When you watch the movie, you'll walk away from that movie like, wow, I feel some type of way about what went down, and it is a true story. So, I encourage you to go watch Bomb City. Like, you've got goosebumps thinking about it. And check out The Actor. I
Yes,
just ran a movie
congratulations,
with
man.
The Actor. It's on
Apple
Vudu
right
and
now.
Apple TV right now. It will be on Amazon. We're not sure exactly how the rights work on that, but it's supposed to launch on all platforms.
So
Can we see more acting roles from you coming up? Or, I know you've done some stuff before,
I was gonna
but
say, I think you like acting.
Yeah, but that was my first motion picture.
yeah.
So that was my first paid, like, not significant, but like SAG or industry film,
Yeah.
IMDb type film that I've done. And I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, I'm working on a couple more. Rear Naked Choke with Major Dodge. We'll be filming that over the summer, and I've been training Major for his role. I'm doing the fight choreography, and we butt heads a little bit, and dude thinks he can take me down, so I was like, no, you got to do a submission grappling match with me at my show. If you really want me to do this, then you need to do this.
I love
motherfucker.
it.
So step up.
Put your
and
money where your mouth
You're not
is.
even going to take me down. I'm going to put you down. I'm going to have my way with you in there. And that's just
Again,
plain
my
and
head went
simple.
somewhere else.
Which is,
Of course it would.
You know me.
Where's your head go?
Which Major, he
What
did
did you like to
have
know?
that collegiate, wrestling background, so that's got to be exciting. You've worked around and trained with so many collegiate wrestlers, and just, see him taking the chance to, come out from the film.
So,
And,
he's already has his excuse set and ready. He's 45 years old. The man's 45 years old.
These boys and
he's
their
already
excuses.
He's already coming up with excuses. So you're beating your head, motherfucker.
well, can I ask you something
I
about
don't even have to beat you. I just gotta show up.
I feel like we need to post this clip. You want to cut a promo right now?
I just did.
Can I ask you something about the jiu-jitsu side? Because I am super stoked how the last several years has been for competitive jiu-jitsu, what Fury's doing, what ONE FC's doing, what we've seen just overall on UFC Fight Pass. What is your take on the future of BJJ competition on the mainstream level?
It's more submission grappling.
Yeah.
BJJ, IBJJF kind of took over that and not sanctioned it, but they're kind of the mob on that. They're the sanctioning body that legitimized it, but they do a lot of things that are, it's a moneymaker. It's a money machine. You get the kids in there, you have freaking foo-foo set of rules, and liability goes down, so the cost goes down, because it's liability is the main issue. If you allow heel hooks for white belts, everybody's going to get their fucking knees ripped, and you're going to have lawsuits left and right. You're going to have
All the trauma.
bills. If you have insurance, then you're going to have deductibles left and right. Your policy is going to go up. So you make the rules foo-foo. Nobody gets hurt. Everybody signs up. You got fairies and gremlins signing up under the same rule set that you're not allowed to hurt each other. But I like the fight. I like submission grappling, so I call it submission grappling. It's a BJJ super fight is what they call it on the mainstream, but it's submission grappling. It's submission wrestling. You can call it catch wrestling. You can call it whatever the fuck you want. We're locked in a cage. We're not allowed to hit each other, but we're trying to strangle each other and mangle each other. And at the end of the day, that's closer to a fight than a BJJ match. People call their IBJJF matches fights. Get the fuck out of here, man. You're not even allowed to slam each other. You elevate on the takedown, and you're gonna get.
God, I hate it when
all
they
that.
tell you you can't get slammed.
Yeah, we allow slams, we allow heel hooks. There will be specific matches or fights with select rule set. So that's our. If this guy agrees on this rules and this guy agrees on the rules, it's a match, right? But I like the no holds barred, and that's the matches I put myself into is the no holds barred, because I enjoy the thrill of not knowing what's going to happen and having that never give up mentality. There ain't nobody that's going to break me. You're gonna have to put me out.
Man of Steel
You're gonna
coming
have
out
to kill
right
me.
now.
Yeah, you're gonna have to kill me in there. There's nobody that's gonna make me submit or say daddy, say uncle.
I've rolled with you, and you have really good top pressure. Just saying that. That is as a former wrestler, just what you do in your transition.
Again,
so
I
I'm
I
excited.
went somewhere else with that.
I have top pressure in all aspects.
Yeah.
And there it is.
I try to stay light on certain most lower belts, unless it's a competitive match with even blue belts nowadays. The level of the sport has gone up so much, but definitely purple, brown belts. Like, okay, now I'm going to use a lot of top pressure, but even when I'm trying not to be, it's just the position, weight placement. Even though I'm not putting all my weight there, just that position still makes me feel heavy because they can't move me.
Yeah.
My base is stable. So, it's just stuff that came from being a white belt, going against cops and 200-pound black belt cops that just love to put their chest hair in my face and try to waterboard me. And I always had that mentality where it's like, you're going to have to kill me. So they would, oh, he's wiry, and just wet blanket me, and I'm not going to quit. Like,
chest sweat on the face.
Hairy chest sweat.
That is always, so I'm not going to lie.
Nothing.
That always is kind of the worst, though. I just feel like, I got to.
That was my beginning.
No, you used to sweat a lot.
I sweat a shit ton.
Oh my God, when you and I used to train one-on-one, I would be like internally gagging, and I sweat a lot too. But because
she'd be externally gagging as well.
Not in your dreams, bud. In your dreams.
Not like that. But you can take it how you want to take it. You ain't gonna get it.
Remind us again, where can our friends and family and supporters get tickets for your big show?
Get your tickets at f3levents.com. If you can't make it out, you don't want to miss the show, ochotv.net. $888 for the pay-per-view. If you order it this week before the day of the event. If you order it after the event or during the event, it's going to be $20. And if you subscribe to ochotv.net for $888 a month, you get all of our pay-per-views for free.
And if that wasn't enough for you guys to tune in, Charlie and I will be on the scene doing pre-show commentary. We're going to be having our own shenanigans because, MMA is so...
Oh, you guys are going to be lit by the end of the show. You might want to...
dancing.
He might be dancing. I don't know. I feel like I'm retired from literally...
Oh, no, we got to make sure that we feed you and water down your drinks.
Yes.
Because by the end of the show,
like
y'all in the pre-show,
than
by the end of the show, I don't know what y'all are going to say. Like,
long story short,
professionalism.
Charlie and I will be on the scene having a great time. Ocho is going to put on a great event, as he always does.
You can check out Ocho TV on YouTube. They're going to be doing, whatever you guys do before, for the daytime festivities. At 4 o'clock, we have our pre-show on ochotv.net, and then 5 o'clock pay-per-view on the dot.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We've been counting down to this. We really appreciate you letting us in your world, letting us do our thing. Thank you so much for being so supportive, top to bottom.
You don't want to miss this show. We have Lucid coming out. Check him out online. Lucid, he's got album with Kasky. He beat Eminem's record for the most words rapped in
a minute.
I did know that, actually.
That's incredible.
I think it was Monster was the song. He remixed it and chopped it up. They said he couldn't do it. He fucking killed it. And Raphael Brooks, he's a young guy coming up. And then Cade Smith, I don't even like country. This guy sat down in my studio, started singing, and I was like, you're gonna be fucking famous.
I'm here for it. I'm a country girl.
He has his first album coming out. It's actually an EP on the 19th. So look for that on all platforms, Spotify, Apple, iTunes. You can pre-save it. Go to the link in our bio at Ocho8 or at Ocho TV, and you can pre-save that. It's fucking good. You don't want to miss it.
All right, before we let you go, because I know you've got class tonight.
Yeah,
We've got about 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Before you have to be there. And I know
right
the
down
gym
the
is
street.
literally
I'm
5 minutes
gonna
away.
run so I break a sweat.
I'm so sorry to your class in advance. Anyway.
Oh, it's gonna be the best class I've ever taught.
Are you sure? Death by burpees? By
Well,
Rayya?
actually, Death by Burpees is already in the plan for the warm-up and the cool-down, because we have an event this weekend, and
Yep, I
it's
figured.
Monday.
I know you.
We're gonna
I know you.
We're gonna.
And Anytime there
Mash
was a
that gas.
smoker.
It's time to redline, motherfucker.
Anytime there was a smoker, it was death by burpees.
The
multiple times a
Monday,
week.
the Monday before.
You're the reason I had abs. Anyway, different conversation for a different day.
Ayo. My
All
son
right.
says that, by the way. Ayo.
Hey, yo.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gen Z.
I
Or is
love
he
it.
alpha?
See, I'm learning all these new words. Like, I didn't know
Oh,
what
no,
a
he
Riz
calls me a
was.
boomer.
Have you heard of
I'm not even a
Riz? Like,
boomer.
I've never heard of Riz. I learned
Ocho's
that.
got Riz.
I've never heard of what that
I got
is.
swag.
Yeah, he got swag, but you got Riz.
I don't know what Riz is.
Riz is your is swag. Is
Okay.
actually is what the Gen
See.
Zers call.
They
Okay.
say you're edging,
That's
you're
how-
edging me
Oh,
now. You're edging me
God.
with this lingo.
Sure. Anyway, there was a massive pay-per-view card this past weekend. UFC 300 finally took place. Top to bottom, one of the best cards in terms of fighters that were chosen. Tell me, what was your favorite fight of the night?
I wish I could have watched more of the fights.
Really?
So long story short, I set up Pong's ring. Pong had a great Muay Thai Thai festival.
Oh yes, yes, I
And we
actually
had
heard
a
about this.
couple people compete. I set up his ring, and then I had to tear it down before they closed. So I tore it down, brought it back to his gym, then went to a local spot, watched the Gaethje fight.
It's
Get
okay.
you.
It's okay if you say that was the best fight.
That was the best fight.
That was crazy.
And I watched the next two. I mean, the three that I got to catch were freaking incredible.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
I mean, UFC 300, you're fighting for 300 grand.
I know, that's crazy.
Max walking away with 600, by the way.
It's crazy. Like, everybody's competing for a bigger prize, and
Everybody fucking brought it.
You get more out of the fighters when there's more hype behind it.
Exactly.
So,
Well, you mentioned Rayya earlier. You know, we were talking about Drake, but I mean, you know, I feel like he's on this redemption tour. He beat Yuri, who beat Glover, now Jamal. And there was still some doubt against Rayya. They thought, you know, Jamal's very athletic, right? I mean,
did he get
but-
the knockout bonus?
I don't know if he got the knockout.
He
I think
should've
it
got
went
the
to
knockout
Matt.
bonus.
Yeah, I think. Well, what's crazy is when he got kicked in the cup, he's like, no.
Oh,
to her, Dean, and just-
that's right, Max.
Yeah.
Well, it's performance. now,
Yeah,
so,
performance. Yeah, yeah.
So I have something to touch on that.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe or maybe not, it was on purpose to kick him in the nuts, but Jamal let his guard down once he got that stop, and then it was a oh shit moment. I gotta keep going, and then he got slept. So I think that had a lot to do with it, where Herb Dean said, stop.
Yeah.
And then he said no. Maybe Herb should have looked him in the eyes and, you know, restarted it like that, but he backed off, and nor here nor there, like, he did what he did. But I think that moment played a part in how it went down. So him waving off Herb Dean was a fucking gangster move, and I believe that got into Jamal's head and ended up being the demise.
For me, I enjoyed watching the girls bang. Obviously.
Of course you did.
I enjoyed
She's
seeing.
been doing all that. I do it one time.
So I enjoyed seeing Kayla Harrison's debut against Holly Holm. Great as advertisement. For me, the big fight was the strawweight battle between Weili and Jan. And as a coach and as a fighter, I gotta know, after that first round, I'm convinced Jan was slept. Like, she was out. She was taking smelling salts between rounds.
Oh man.
How do you, like, were you okay with her putting her back out there?
9 out of 10 times, the ref waves it off when she stumbles. Because I was talking about it live when it happened.
Yeah, of course you were.
So when you get choked out, your brain does no oxygen. And then every time your heart beats, your brain gets some blood, some oxygen. So this little twitch, that's every time your heart beats. I got choked out one time, I believe you were there, by one of my students. I told her to choke me out.
I was in the
because
building,
I wanted her to stop, like, going hard and let go and hard and let go. I wanted her to, all right, choke me out, like, try to choke me out.
You wanted her to feel what it was
and
like.
then I tapped, and then she was still stuck on choke me out. So
I've been there. too.
so then I woke up on my face, and I was trying to get up, and I kept falling back on my face.
She was
And
traumatized,
that
by
was
the way.
every time, well, because it was
but
pretty
it is a
traumatic.
traumatizing
I woke
moment.
up like, where am I? Am I in trouble? Like, whoa, I'm at the gym. I'm a coach. Like, am I in trouble? Did I just black out? Like, am I on drugs? What am I on today? Like, what is going on? So super confused. But as you're trying to come back to, you waver. Your body just loses.
It's trying to reset.
So every time your heart beats, the blood's going to your brain.
Gotcha,
so
okay.
it doesn't have enough flow yet. So you could see that when she got released from that choke. She goes here, and then she gets up, and then but if she would have fallen, it would have been over.
But the fact that she caught herself?
Caught herself and then walked away. So it was debatable whether it should have been stopped, but I believe in that moment, you give the fighter the benefit of the doubt and you let them fight and die on their shield rather than stepping in prematurely, because
I can respect that.
the fighter fought enough to go to the bell and was not unconscious and did not fall. She wavered a couple times, like I described, but she didn't fall, so therefore she was still conscious. There was low oxygen in the brain, but she wasn't unconscious.
Fair enough. I just, for me, I know, like, you know, the blood.
If I'm that fucking fighter, I'm fucking tripping. I'm like, nah, fuck that. I wasn't out.
Yeah, the fire. I'm just saying from a coaching perspective, the fact that his finger was literally up her nose trying to wake her up.
He was probably giving her some
smelling salts.
No, it's adrenaline.
There's like a name.
Adrenaline, especially in Vegas. It's legal in some states, most states, for fighters to have adrenaline in between fights.
Okay.
It's on the swabs, the cotton swabs, to stop the bleeding in their nose.
Oh, okay.
So you can have adrenaline swabs, and they pull them out and they stick them up your nose, and the fighter doesn't even notice it. It stops the bleeding, and
you know better than I do.
I don't know as far as the rush, but I'm sure they used them on me once or twice.
Well, what would you like to see, we were talking about Gaethje and Holloway, you competed at featherweight. What do you think about Holloway's next move? Should it be Ilya? I mean, he could make a case to run, for you have Islam now and Dustin Poirier in June. I mean, he just beat the guy that beat Dustin, so what would you do if you were playing matchmaker for him? Yeah.
I mean, he's the fucking dude and he's talking shit. Fucking, let's go. Max, I think Max is the type of dude where if you come at him, he's going to put you down. When he fought Volk hit and move, and, beat him to the punch. So he's a fucking dog. You give him another dog, that's when you get a war. And that's what happened with Gaethje. It's unfortunate that he got a couple of eye pokes in there. And believe it or not, that plays a large factor in how the outcome of the fight could turn out.
I was going to ask.
I thought the nosebleed too, because
he broke his nose.
Kick to the nose was insane.
And then I just saw a video earlier, right in the final exchange, Max clashed in, and it's very debatable whether he got headbutt in that moment or not right before the overhand came. So it's like, not that anything was intentional, but it's chaos in there.
I was going to say, that was the moment he said, stand and bang, 10 seconds, let's fucking go.
And then he dropped in, and then it looked like
it's the drill you make us do, right? You put us in a little box, right? You're like, just go. This is it. This is the only space you get, and that's exactly what happened. Oh my God, I replied your life to my real life. I hate you.
Max is very good about standing in the pocket and still being defensively sound. It's blocking and countering rather than wailing. He gets his opponent to wail, and then he blocks a shot or moves out of a shot and then makes him pay for it. And I think it's beautiful how he baited his opponent into that final exchange.
Yeah, it's not like Justin's one to say no to anything. So.
No, let's fucking go. It's like Joe Roasted. Let's go. And then he goes and takes me down like a fucking bitch. That's one fight I would come back for.
Well, how about real quick, I know you might not have got a chance to see it, but, staying on featherweight, Aljamain Sterling makes a successful debut against Calvin Kattar. Obviously, fighting a smart fight on the wrestling, which I was like, he's got to do this, especially Kattar coming off knee injury, making him forced to stop those takedowns. Do you think he should still stay at 145? Or let's see, he was calling out Brian Ortega possibly. I mean, that'd be interesting from the grappling
It's
standpoint.
all about who you fight, man.
I was gonna say I have an opinion here.
I think everybody should go up.
Yeah.
I would go like, shit, fuck cutting weight if it's a level playing field.
Yeah.
But if I'm cutting down to 145 and still fighting guys that are fucking 6'3", then, you know, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's a weight cutting battle. So I think everybody should go up. I think Ocho and Brian Ortega, I think that's a great fight.
I would watch that in a heartbeat.
I'm not going to talk shit about nobody, but I think Ocho has the skill set
I know why you're saying the
to
things you're
beat
saying.
Ortega. And, you know.
I'm going to say
I'll
this
say that.
about Aljo moving up to 145. I think, yes, it was for a different landscape, a different challenge, but he wants his best friend to go against Sugar Sean O'Malley. He wants Merab to live his best life and do his thing. Those two are so close. They're basically brothers. It makes sense that he moved out of the way to make space for
Well,
him.
he cuts a tremendous amount of weight too. I think one time he got up to like 170, was cut down 135. I mean, that's a lot. And as you know, yeah.
Yeah, you're like this, bitch.
But you know, as moving up from 135, how good you felt.
Oh my
He
God.
Yeah,
Your
really
cuts to
good.
135 stressed me
And then
out.
145 became a problem just because of the damage I did from 10 years of cutting to
Yeah.
135. So you cutting all that weight, it taxes your body to where you're not able to your hormones, your body composition, it changes, and it'll fuck you up. It'll make your estrogen levels go up, your cortisol levels go up, testosterone goes down. So we stop cutting that weight, it'll bring it back up, and then now trying to cut that weight like to even a higher level, it's not going to work.
So now that you're a
I applaud
coach-
Conor McGregor for stopping the 45 cut and then now
He looked
stopping
like
the
a
55
zombie.
cut.
And now go to
And
170.
I know exactly why he's doing that,
Yeah.
and it's,
Totally
it's
makes sense. And
because
with
of
age,
the
it gets
damage
harder.
of what he did to fight at 145. You saw his weigh-ins. He was
Well,
he was 135 Ocho when he was fighting.
Oh my God.
His face is like
135
so
Let me tell you, I was around you a lot when you would cut down to 135, right? I would look at you and be like, do you want a cheeseburger? Like,
I thought I was gonna die.
literally, I thought you were gonna die.
But I was willing to die
Yeah.
to make it where I am now.
So tell me this as now that you're a coach, well, you've been a coach for a while, but coach, now you're a fight promoter. What are you telling these guys should be their base weight? Because you're probably looking at them like,
Tru Grit. Before you have your first weight cut, don't cut weight. Come to a Tru Grit show, same day weigh-ins. It's a exhibition sparring match where you have a crowd, you have a rehearsal for your big moment, and then you're able to level the playing field. And as a promoter, I can match these guys. Okay, you want to be a 135er as a pro? Okay, you're going to fight at 145 as an amateur, and then when you go pro, you're ready and prepared to make that cut because you know that you can only do so many of those. And then eventually, you know, once we get on the world level, I'd like the pros to go up as well. So just leveling the playing field.
I agree with you. So, like, I remember when I was trying to get into the scene, you gave me a certain weight and somebody else gave me a different weight. The other weight was lower. But looking back at it, you definitely knew what you were doing.
If
And
both,
this was like
both guys
2-3
agree,
years
okay,
ago.
we're you know similar size. Okay, we both kill ourselves and fuck up our whole health, or we.
I'm not going
fuck
to
up
say
our
weight
health
cutting's the
less,
reason
you
I blew
know?
out my knee, but it definitely had something to do with it.
It does. The fatigue, the malnourishment, all that combined adds to injuries and health issues. So let's get rid of that, and you'll have a lot healthier fighters and better fights.
Well, I really appreciated you stopping by. I know you've got a class to teach.
Thank you so much, man.
Man, it's my pleasure. I've been drinking
Cheers.
apple juice, and I enjoy it.
We won't tell. Your secret's safe with us.
It's sweet.
All right, y'all have a great
Thanks.
rest of the week, and we'll see you next week for draft stuff.
Bow.